Right, so our animation is looking nice. We've got a little bit of depth going on by faking it with the opacity, so it kind of comes out like from the darkness. It comes into here with some motion blur, bam, and then these letters come flying in. And then we have one that comes down and then we animated it so it gives a little bit of that tension that it hits and bounces a little bit. Now, how would we want to close this up? We could just have it fade to black, which is pretty easy, but I'm going to show you a different way. And the way of doing it is right now we have this demo, composition, which is what we're working in. We could see it here. This is all the stuff that's in it. And once again, I'm using my null to actually animate just everything bouncing down a little bit, and I could have it rotate off and do stuff. But I want to do what's called a nesting a composition, which means I put a composition within a composition so I could do some stuff. So let's change the name of the demo just slightly. We'll right name, right click, go to rename, or I could just select it and press enter to change the name. And we'll call this one motion graphics anim. So we've got this, right? So that we know what it is. And we might have several ones because I could have different things. And then I could just drag them out. If in a bigger composition, I could put this in the front and then put stuff behind it and then put something in the back. But I want to just do one more thing with this one. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to undo that. I'm going to switch this back to demo. I just did a Control Z, or if you're on a Mac, it's Command Z. And let's do it this way instead. I'm going to take my demo and I'm going to drag it into this icon right down here, which is create a composition with whatever selected. And I'm dragging it in to put it into, bam, another composition. And the benefit of this, now I'm in demo 2, and this one I'm going to rename. So this one I can go in and rename it and call this one motion graphics intro. Boom. Okay. So, and later on I'll organize these so that the ones that are inside of some, they're in another folder, and these are my main ones that I can drag out so I don't have to dig for them through. What's this? What's that? What's that? So this is fine for right now. And we could see I'm inside of the motion graphics composition, and there's my demo with the little composition symbol. If I open it up, all I have are transforms because this is that sandwich, that group of stuff. If I double click on it, now I'm back inside of what's inside of this one. And now I can kind of toggle between the two. And so this is just a nice handy way. So you see if I scrub through it, there it is right here. And I only have one layer. All that stuff is collapsed right into here, which is awesome. And it makes it a lot more tidy and easy to work with because now I can do stuff to this just as one layer and not have to worry about all those sub layers. So now what I'm going to do is I just want to have this disappear or go away, not by opacity, but like either I could do a wipe or I could just have like a circle close it up. So what I'm going to do is let's open it up so that we can see where we're at right here. And I'm going to go to my masking tool, which is this guy here with this demo selected. And let's do the elliptical tool. So we've got that. And I'm just going to drag from the center. And if I hold down Control Shift, I'm dragging from the center. Otherwise, it's just pulling it out. So Control Shift. And let's say we're going to do it so that it is about, let's try it right about there so we can see it. Boom. So right now, you could see there's a mask right there. And there's now a mask on this. So I can go in and open up the mask and I can expand it or open it way up. Now, remember this stuff is way out here. So I have to increase the pixels so that they are actually visible. So I expand it out and I could measure it out, but I just pull it out so that I could see it. So right now I've increased the expansion. So the mask is way outside of my viewing area. So it's almost like it's not being shown at all right now. So boom, bam, that hits. And then we'd wait a second, and a second or two. And let's say right about, boom, right there. I'm going to set a key for the expansion. So we click on this little stopwatch. And then I go over to right before the movie ends, and I'm just going to drop this all the way down. And as I go inward, you look at what's happening. It closes it up like that. So now I have two keys, so check it out. Let's go back. I can now change the mask. I can go back to my arrow and just click in the background or whatever. And now let's just hit spacebar to play. Pretty neat. And now it just does this little circular, this radial wipe and just goes right into there. Now, another thing I can do with this, which I haven't really messed with, are some of these other settings, like the feathering. The feathering, let's tighten this up so it starts to close like this. And then, so we see this edge. What the feathering does is I can soften that edge, you see? So if I don't want it to be a hard edge wipe, I could just soften it out like this. And then it closes up. So if I want that, I could just keep it that way, or I could even key it so that it feathers more as it goes along, or it doesn't, it sharpens as it goes along, whatever the case. And so I'm just keeping it really simple, but you can see how fast and quickly we did this. Boom, and there we go. Later on, what we're going to do is we're going to actually go in and the mask is not restricted to this. I literally could draw a mask. So that's one of those things that if I have my pen tool and if we click, just like in Illustrator, we see have these other little options. So I could go in and choose like the conversion tool and click and drag and change the shapes. And I can even animate these as well. So that this is something else that we can do where it's like, oh, that's neat. I could also do this. And if I go back to my selection tool, we can just grab points. And believe it or not, I can also, key that as well. So just something to consider.